Hi, everyone. Welcome to Magical Witchy TV. I am Star Ravenhawk, and
Hi, I'm Rhonda Allen. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. And
yeah,
this week, another very special guest.
yes.
It's a magical, witchy world. It's a magical, witchy world.
Yay.
Welcome, Angie. Angie Buchanan. Welcome to Magical Witchy World TV.
We are
Nice to
very,
be
very
here.
excited to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So, as we like to do with every one of our shows, we begin by introducing our guests to our audience. So, let me read through your bio as way of introduction. Reverend Angie Buchanan is a founder and the spiritual director of Earth Traditions, a pagan church, and of Gaia's Womb, an interfaith spirituality group that has been producing women's spiritual retreats since 1998. She is a
Wow.
lifelong pagan, an animist, and has been an experienced magical worker and ritualist for over 40 years. She served on the board of trustees for the Parliament of World Religions from 2002 to 2010, the first pagan to be elected, and is active
Nice.
emerita. Yes, that's huge. She was inducted into the Martin Luther King Jr. College of Ministers and Laity at Morehouse College in 2015. Reverend Buchanan is currently a spiritual advisor for pagan students at the University of Chicago Campus Ministry and a certified death midwife, having developed a program that provides hands on intensive training for compassionate end of life care and information about ecologically sensitive funerals. She can be found at gaiaswomb.com, earthtraditions.org, and deathmidwife.org. And we'll be scrolling the deathmidwife.org URL so you can grab her information.
Awesome.
Welcome, Reverend
Yeah,
Angie.
absolutely. So excited to have you here.
I'm
All
happy
right,
to
so
be
let's
here.
get right into it with her, Angie. So we've been looking forward to this, and we kind of go through this with everyone because we don't want to assume people's titles of what they call themselves, not titles as in reverend or high priestess or anything, but as in what you call yourself, what you see yourself as. So we know that many of us kind of start off at a particular name that we may say we are, and then we kind of evolve and become who we are right now, and we say, okay, so this is who we are now. And whether it's you're a witch, a pagan, whatever you want to title yourself as. So
Mhm.
without assuming, we ask you to tell us, what is it that you um, think of yourself as? What do you give you the title that you are?
I am pagan,
Okay.
and under that pagan umbrella, I practice animism.
Okay, there we go.
Beautiful.
See,
Beautiful.
this is why we never assume. We are always asking people to tell us themselves. Awesome.
Exactly. No, that's
Yeah.
fabulous. And with the work that you're currently doing, we can see why. Well, let me ask if we could uh, just start with what brought you into this work? What brought you into the world of paganism and practicing as an animist? What brought you to this work?
Well, I'm kind of unusual because I was born into it, and I was raised in a tradition. Um,
Mm,
my
beautiful.
family didn't come to the United States until the late 1920s. Um, until that point, we were not noticeably housed. We were nomadic. And
Mm-hmm.
so we never really signed up for a lot of the um, ordinary spiritual religious traditions.
Mm.
Um, I was raised in a family of 10 children. I was the youngest of 10 children.
Right.
My mother raised us alone. She gave birth to three of us. When I was 3 years old, she married a widower who had seven children.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Okay.
I don't really remember life before them. So
Okay. All
to
right.
me,
That's awesome.
they're my siblings, and we're
Yeah.
all over the world. But uh, my upbringing was pretty unconventional, in that we were encouraged to explore, but to keep silent about many things. If we were directly asked what our religion was, we were told to tell people that we were pagan, and in the same breath to tell them that we were also communist. And,
Wow.
you know, at that point in time, it was rude. It was rude to ask somebody, especially a kid, what their religion was.
Yeah.
And so when they got that response, a lot of times it just sort of shut them down. They weren't quite sure what to do with it. So that was sort of her way of protecting us.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
Um,
You guys be frank. Hey, I love that.
yeah, you can be honest, and you can choose how far you're going to allow the conversation to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, because in a way you took the narrative away from anyone who tried to pin you down and pigeonhole you into boxes of things of what they presume you to be. So that's actually kind of it's a great segue into, from your point of view, what does it mean for you to be that animist? Like, how do you see it and how do you practice it, kind of a thing?
So this gets a little tricky. So let me preface this by saying that my entire adult life has been devoted to religious freedom and the protection of the First Amendment.
Right.
Having said that, paganism is my life. It's not something that I practice. It's something that I am.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Awesome.
And I deal with people all the time that say, well, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And bless your little heart.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 15 years in Kentucky.
I love that. Bless your heart.
Bless your little heart. But the First Amendment doesn't protect spirituality. It protects religion.
Yes.
So there's that piece of it. So my religion is paganism. It's also my spirituality. And I didn't, I was raised understanding mythology, like in-depth mythology, different pantheons, different stories, different dying, rising sun gods, which is why I got quite a giggle about being invited to be here tonight on Good Friday. Nothing like a little witchiness on Good Friday.
It's so funny. I forgot it was Good Friday. No, I'm serious, because I don't follow the regular holidays. I didn't even realize I do that, because I just step back from it so much, because I have my holidays, kind of a thing, that I forget that I forgot. I completely forgot.
I have an education in religious studies. That's how I know what I know about other religions. That's how I got involved in the interfaith. But I guess that we also were told that Christianity is a mythology and it has its own pantheon, but you don't tell people that. You don't tell little kids that there is no Santa Claus, and you don't tell Christians that their belief is a mythology.
Right.
So having been raised with that kind of a discernment prepared me to do a lot of the work that I did with religious freedom. And I did that by getting heavily involved in politics in my young adulthood.
Nice.
And that's fabulous.
And then, as I've moved through my own evolution and psychospiritual development, I am still an advocate for the First Amendment and have done a lot of work for religious liberty.
That is powerful.
Which are being heavily tested right now. Heavily tested. Everything's being heavily tested. So
heavily tested. No, you speak about the how you came to this. You grew up in a family where this is who you are, as you stated. This is who you are. When it comes to, and obviously through your work with interfaith ministry, et cetera, with women's group, with all the various other things, let's take it now to you as an individual, you as Angie, how is it that you express that in your day-to-day life? I mean, you grew up this way, but how does it present? How does it present in your day-to-day living? I know that's
It
kind of a
is, yeah, that's a big question. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
because it is everything. It expresses itself through everything. I I live this spirituality. I live this persona of embodiment. Uh, for me, the earth is a sentient being. It has a language. Um, it has cycles, just like everything has cycles. And being hardwired into that informs my magic, because I work
Yes.
with instead of swimming upstream, unless there's a
Yes.
reason for that. And so, the earth being a sentient being, it's as the divine feminine, the earth is a witch. She constantly gives birth to herself.
Yes.
She's unapologetically, voicing her pleasure, her displeasure.
Yes.
And there's a beauty to it, and a sensuality and a sexuality that is glaringly apparent to anybody that is able to tap into that.
Right.
So it informs everything I do.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. And
It's
I and
basically the embodiment of it entirely.
exactly. And it just really it kind of that story that many people tell themselves that, oh, this is what I do, but and I'm going to say, regardless of tradition, whether you practice a pagan religion, whether you are practicing Christian or practicing what have you, many people say, well, yeah, they separate their spiritual practice from who they are.
Mhm.
They're not wedded together. They see it as something separate.
Separate, yeah.
And yeah, I just love the fact that it is just so integrated in who you are. That's very clear. I love that.
I like to tell my students that, when they say that they separate like this, I don't know if you can actually do that. What I like to tell them is what you're doing is you're shape shifting. You're
Well
shape
said.
shifting to be able to um, exist in the environment that you have
That
to
they're in, yeah.
exist in.
Pretty much. That's what they
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
So, it's a
Or some
mask.
of them, I say they kind of compartmentalize. They
Mhm.
they put things into different boxes, and they kind of go, okay. But you're right, they are shape shifting to suit whatever purposes, and
To
they're
survive.
very good at it.
It's
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
survival.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
True.
there's nothing to be ashamed of in
No,
having to do that.
yeah,
You change your clothes.
right, yeah,
I
Right.
don't know about
Right.
most people, but I don't slouch around in the office in my pajamas, right? Yeah, like I do at home.
Right.
So I actually have
Right.
pants on.
Right.
I have pants on. So, but
Point.
that's the
No,
whole
it's an
idea,
excellent point.
is that we can still, we're not, we are not a part of nature. We are
right,
nature. We are earth and air and fire and water, and embodied, animated by spirit. And so long as that spirit animates us, um, we breathe in, we live, we exhale, we die. My students are sick of hearing me say that, but if I don't say it, sometimes they don't do it. So it's, it's the idea of being human and having the human experience and
right,
being embodied by whatever it is that animates us, and knowing that one day we're going to take that final exhale. We're going to exhale for the last time. Whatever it is that animates us is out of here, it's leaving,
right,
and we cease to be human.
right.
Yes. Yes.
Bam. Let's contextualize this in a really, really freeze-dried, compacted.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
That's
so I know,
powerful.
right? Yeah,
Powerful.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about what do you consider important to you, especially right now with things. And I know you mentioned your political side is important to you.
Mhm.
Uh, but are there any other things that are important to you that you say that you try to embody as much as possible right now, or you're trying to see if you can push off maybe your different things that you might want to do? What do you consider important?
Well, it's interesting because there are a few things that I'm doing now that all sort of, they are separate threads woven into the same web.
Mm.
And so I do the death midwifery.
Yes.
For me, okay, I'm going to talk about two things that I'm doing right now. I'm doing weddings, lots of weddings, which I see as an act of resistance. And then I'm doing death midwifery,
Right.
which is also its own act of resistance in that
Yeah.
we are reclaiming our
Yes.
final rite of passage. And for
Yes.
pagans especially, it's like, you've never even thought about this. You've not even given death a thought, and one of my favorite folks in the death movement, the positive movement, says talking about death ain't gonna make, or talking about sex ain't gonna make you pregnant. Talking about death ain't gonna make you dead.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so,
Right.
I'm
Right.
out here talking about it, and I'm training people how
Yeah.
to be present with somebody as they are dying,
Yeah.
and how to
Yeah.
address fear, and how to use your craft to facilitate
And assist with that. Yes.
and assist with that.
Yes.
And
that's
so, for me, there's a huge piece of spirituality involved in that, even though
Very
I
much so.
keep that spirituality out of the death midwife training, because everybody dies.
Yes.
And I'm not really concerned with what you believe happens to you after you die. I'm going to, as a ritual architect, as a ritualist, as a magical practitioner, I'm going to try to help you shape your final rite of passage.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that
that's
is
awesome.
empowering. Yes.
It really is. It really
Yeah.
is.
And
I mean,
thank you
we
for that
celebrate
work.
everything. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate coming of age. We celebrate marriages and retirements, and then we act like we're not going to die.
People are afraid
Yes.
of it, I believe, and
Yeah.
I'm like you. I teach death doula, death midwifery, and all the different things. I teach it as well. So I know, and it's to a lot of people, you have to keep it separated from your spirituality. But when I'm teaching it, I talk about it from the sense of interfaith, whereas that you have to be shape-shifting into the knowledge of all the different religions as you do it. So that way you're able to help anyone with whatever religions that they are. And you
Right.
have
I
to
can be
kind of keep
present
it
for
separated,
anybody.
and you're not there to preach, you're there to help them through with it. And that's
That's
something you have
right.
to keep separated.
I can be whoever, whatever they need me to be,
Exactly. That
because
chameleon you have to be.
that threshold is sacred.
Yes, absolutely.
And we come and
Absolutely.
in my opinion, we come and we go from the same place. It's the same threshold.
Yeah.
They're coming in, they're leaving.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we've got the birth midwives that are catching them on the way in, and the
Yes.
death midwives that are handing them off
Yes.
on the way out.
Absolutely.
And it's powerful work.
It is. It is.
It really is. Thank you for the work. Let me ask. Well, that is powerful work. It is. Let's talk a bit about, and I mean, working with death midwifery, working with the university, working with students, all of this. So we're in the element, or we're in community. Tell us about where community sits, or how you're engaging with community right now. Large, big C community, small C community, like in your neighborhood. But how are you working with and engaging with community right now?
Are you using community generically, or
Generically.
within PEG?
Yes.
Okay. So there are lots of ways that I do this. Through the death midwifery is one of them. The other is here in my neighborhood. For example, there's a family that lives across the street that's got 6 kids, and they're lovely, lovely people. And we have room in our backyard. They have a smaller
Yeah.
yard than we do for
Mhm.
extra garden space.
Oh, wow.
So, we've offered for them to use that space to help feed their family. I don't think that they're desperate or destitute, but it could certainly slide that way quickly.
It helps.
Yes.
Any
And
little bit helps. Yes.
In the past, we have we call her Miss Apple Tree, and Miss Apple Tree lives in the backyard, and she is a flirt. She's an every other year bloomer, and
Oh.
she struts like a peacock every other year and gives us 75 bushels worth of apples.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I can't use that many apples.
Yes.
So we invite the neighborhood over to harvest from that tree.
Nice.
And it's been a joy, to watch the
That is
kids climb up in her
beautiful.
branches, and then I inevitably will get a call from one of the young mothers here saying, "Oh, thank you so much for those apples, and I've made applesauce and I'm going to send you some." And I say, "Oh, no, you're not. You send me something with blueberries or strawberries, but don't send me any
Yes.
apples."
I have a cabinet full. Yes, my pantry is overflowing.
Yes.
Understood. That
During
is
the
such
pandemic, I
beautiful
had
work.
like my whole countertop. I did like 25 apple strudels.
Oh my
And then we did
gosh.
porch drops.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
it's things like that
Yes.
make community.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
Food's always a
wonderful.
good thing to
That's
gather
really
around.
great though, because that's thinking in the sense of survival
Mm-hmm.
and trading with each other for food, because we're going to
Mhm.
need that, I believe, in this coming years. We're going to need that.
Mhm.
And we also do community gatherings within our pagan community, and I have invited non-pagans to this too, where we'll get
Excellent.
together and we'll make like a big cauldron of Florida water,
Yes.
that we
Yes.
put into spray bottles for people, or we'll make a big batch of elderberry syrup, and everybody gets to take a bottle home in the fall, for flu
Nice.
season,
Yes.
or
Colds and all of that.
eucalyptus bath salts.
Mhm.
Nice.
And so we're usually doing that through the year. Oftentimes the Florida water comes in the spring, the elderberry and the eucalyptus are in fall and winter.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it gives us an opportunity to pull people together to work on a project together,
Mhm.
take some, give it away, or
Yes.
use it for their families, and everybody feels good about this. They feel productive about it.
That's so empowering.
No, that's
Again,
really great though. That's literally
that
community taking care of each other. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's nice.
In
And
August,
that
we come together, we bake bread together, and then we have the kids. We put heavy whipping cream in a mason jar, and we have the kids pass it around, shake it until it turns into butter.
Oh
so
my
then-
See, there
gosh.
you go. There you
Yeah, the bread and the
awesome.
butter, and
Listen,
it's like,
go.
oh my
Yes.
Taking care
goodness,
of each other. That's-
it's like
that's
those
so
cartoon
awesome.
characters with the big bellies. And
Right. Fresh bread and fresh butter.
and honey.
Amazing. And
Local
Awesome.
honey.
That is sounds so nice. I'm ready to come there and be with you guys.
Come on.
See? But
It
that's
sounds so
about
wonderful. It's
building
kind of like what I want to
community.
create, right, Rhonda, with the
Yes.
compound.
Yes.
So there's an emotional, a spiritual, and a practical piece to
Yes.
everything that I do.
Yes.
And,
That
you
tell us more.
all of those things are, for the emotional piece, it's things like what I just told you, the making of the bath salts and the elderberry syrup. It's also things like highway cleanup, picking up trash. We did a project a number of years ago that I feel like I can talk about now. And Star, I think you may have been aware of this.
Mhm.
We did a fundraiser for bulletproof vests for Black Lives
Oh,
Matter.
right. For the what's her name? For what was her name? The you mean that Reverend?
No, this was just for Black Lives Matter leadership, that
Oh, no,
nonviolent
I
leadership.
did not know about it. I did not know
Yeah,
about it.
we bought 8 of them and
Nice.
distributed
Wow.
them in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Milwaukee. And
Wow, that was really nice. We appreciate that very much.
Mhm.
it was a situation where some of our leadership of this is when the Kyle Rittenhouse thing was happening, and because that happened just like up the street from me.
Yes. Yeah.
And we knew that that these people were at risk. And having been in law enforcement, which was my first career, you know, you don't talk about this kind of thing while it's ongoing,
Right.
because you don't want people to know that these folks have been equipped with a bulletproof vest, because then somebody's going to take a headshot.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
you know,
that's
these are the
true.
kinds of things that we think about: emotional, spiritual, practical.
Right.
Yes.
What
Yes.
can we do to address the tension and the stress
Yes.
of something that's happening? We get the emotions under control, we pull in the spirituality, and we assess what can we do that's practical.
That's again, more power. And the practicality of it, is what I absolutely love. It's not just idea, it's not just sentiment. It's action. It's
Yeah.
taking an action and
Ambition,
producing a thing.
yeah, ambition without action is a thing with wings and no feet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well said.
So I love that
Exactly.
quote, and I
Yeah.
can't for the life of me pull up who said it.
Who said it?
Well,
Yeah.
Ambition,
You gotta Google it, or AI,
yeah,
chat GPT it, and they will find
yeah,
it for you.
yeah. And there has to be action,
Yeah.
because we can all sit
absolutely.
around and wish and wish and wish.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not gonna
You know,
help
my
us
mom
when
used to
it's
say,
back.
if wishes were horses, then beggars
Yeah.
would ride, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
She was a very powerful woman. I learned a lot from her. She died in 1987.
Oh wow.
But she was pretty much the foundation of my feistiness and my willingness to stand up and mouth off. And I really got to appreciate that. There were, you know, lots of things that she would do and say as teaching moments that have stuck with me through my life, and I use it to explain to people who and what I am.
Yes.
You know, vocabulary can be really difficult because people will essentially jump to a conclusion when they hear a particular word. You know, witchcraft is a very inflammatory word.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
yet, you know, when I get to know someone and I start to talk about, well, you know, what is witchcraft? You know,
Yes.
for me, and
Let's
this is
break
just
it
for me,
down.
it's a practice, kind of like shamanism, you know, which we know now that the shaman word is not accurate to be used in the way that we've been using it. It's a practice that it comes from the Tungus people of Siberia, and yet, you know, associated to that would be like spirit ships, seers, mediums, necromancy. These are all
Yes.
things that are considered as being this sort of spirit worker thing. So for me, witchcraft is a practice. It's not a religion.
Yes.
Others would embrace it as a religion, and you know, that's their walk. I say it's prayer.
It's prayer.
When the high school basketball team gathers around the goal in a circle and prays that they'll play their best game or that they'll win, you know, that is magic. That is petitioning
Exactly
something
so.
outside of yourself to bend the will of the universe in your favor. And if we want to
Exactly.
take it a step further, it's black magic, because the omission is they want the other team to lose.
To lose. Yes. Yes.
So when you say that to someone, suddenly they're like, no, but prayer, no, you know, and it's like, tell me the difference between what that basketball team does,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and what
Yeah.
with spell casting, witchcraft. It's all language that is inflammatory because you've been indoctrinated to believe it's
Precisely.
inflammatory.
This when
That's
I speak with some people and they say they get, like, you know, taken aback with certain words I use. I said, well, let's see. They repackaged the secret, or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
And I said, that's just spell work.
Mm-hmm.
They just repackaged it and gave you a different name, and suddenly it's, oh my, let's do it, kind
Toxic
of a thing. And I said,
positivity.
you know, it's just repackaging. That's all. Marketing.
Language
Okay, language.
is
Yeah,
right.
yeah, she's absolutely right. Okay. So what would you like to see us as pagans or witches or animists? What would you like to see us accomplish?
You gotta be kidding.
No.
Well,
What's top of the list? What's that
Just
one
pick
thing?
one. I can just see her face
Pick
going,
one.
there's so many. Just pick one.
No, I can't. I don't even know where to start. How about we act like we like each other? How about we stop cannibalizing each other?
I mean,
Oh, dear
Because
goddess.
we're not
Yes.
going to get anything done until that stops. Hard
Yes.
stop.
yes.
That
I am
no
so
human beings
tired.
eat each other all the time.
But yeah, they eat each other.
Yes.
And there, in
It's
my
just-
opinion, there is no such thing as the pagan community.
Thank you.
There are many small communities that are doing their own thing. I have one. It's on the larger side, I think. I get a couple hundred people that come to some of the events that I do. I
Yes.
do one for winter solstice that's really heavily attended. And we love it. We pull out the Mount Lloyd. We do workshops about the origins of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
We have ritual, we sing, we do candlelight.
Yeah.
It's and we eat like pigs, and it's it's perfect. So so that's my community. Within that community, those people belong to other different communities.
You're right.
I
right.
have smaller circles. So essentially, what we're dealing with is like a pebble in the pond, and then there's a ripple and a ripple and a ripple and a ripple.
Right.
Yes.
And I think that's the main thing that we need to look at. What I'd like to see happen is for people to let go of this need to
Consume.
yeah.
I don't think they can. Unfortunately, we're watching it in real time of them doing exactly that and chasing their tails. But whatever.
It's one of the sorry.
Just the bitterness and the the need, the desperate need to knock somebody down.
Yes.
It's hyena-ish.
They don't know how to lift that people up. They've lost the ability, I think, in a lot of ways to just lift people up. So because they're so busy doing exactly what you just said.
I don't even need them to lift us up, Star. I just want them to leave them alone.
Yeah. I have to say,
people can lift themselves up as long as you're not gnawing on their leg.
Right.
Yeah. Or
Right.
putting your knee on their backs or their necks or whatever else. If you hold them down, you're just wanting someone to put down, because that again just shows how inferior they are, because they're so busy trying to put others down, and that's the only way they can be better.
They can feel better. Which
or
is
they
a
can
very
feel
sad
better
thing.
about themselves, and it's kind of sad that they don't even look at that to see how much if they have to go to such a length that come on, take a look at yourself. But such is life.
There's lots
in
of
the
work ahead.
In the interfaith forums, one of the things that I will emphasize is that the interfaith forums, and we can bring this back into the intrafaith of paganish, because I know not everybody uses that word.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
The idea is it doesn't mean that we have to accept or tolerate other people's beliefs. It means that we can set those beliefs aside in order to work on problems that impact all of us.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
If we're going to talk about global issues like clean water, or overcoming religiously motivated violence, or equality for women, it's these are world issues that impact you no matter what you believe.
It's funny. It's not sorry to cut you off there. I'm sorry. Finish up what you were saying.
I was just going to say, anybody that's embodied in a human meat suit has the ability, or most people, have the ability to roll up their sleeves and pick up trash off of a riverbank, or sign a petition, or talk to a political figurehead, or whatever. We all have the ability to do something, no matter what it is that we believe. But when we come in yammering, nobody's going to get anything done.
Yeah.
Truth.
It's
We have
just
the responsibility as well. And I think a lot of people, well, somebody else will do it. I don't want to get involved.
I
We
think,
are
it's so
all
funny.
involved if we are, as you say, wearing that meat suit. We are all
Yeah.
involved. You don't get out of it just because
But
you don't wanna,
Mm-mm.
as you were saying, Star.
no, no, no. I was just saying that, I think we would love to see a lot of things, but I'm looking at the world through different eyes than I did before. Like I was invited to an interfaith thing a few years back, and I got a plaque, and everybody was so wonderful. But even now, among those same people, they're fighting among themselves. They're no longer able to get together as in the past. It's like we've devolved so much
Excuse me.
that the things that we had accomplished before, like in the
Yeah.
past, we can't seem to even get there to even accomplish it further. It's like I have never seen human beings devolve so rapidly, and it's happened amazingly so.
And
That,
I
that
am
I am like,
so in agreement with you. It's
Mhm.
stunning.
yeah,
It's
it-
absolutely stunning. And
it's
what I'm telling my community is, take a look at the natural world. When you are prey, the best thing that you can do is hunker down for a moment, be very still, assess your surroundings, find your escape hatch,
Mhm.
right? Take your
Yeah.
cues from nature. This is what a rabbit does when the shadow of the hawk flies over the meadow.
hence my compound.
And that doesn't mean that you get to just stop living and that you can't be a rabbit anymore.
Right.
You just
But
assess the situation.
the hawks are real for us right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We don't need them to be in our own communities.
right. But they are.
Yes, they are.
They're very prevalently so. I was surprised at that more than ever.
Mhm.
It's just, anyways.
Yeah. And
So
the question that comes from that when I see
yes,
when is there's reasoning behind this and the question, what is it leading to? So it's a process. It is a process. All of this degrading, I see that as going into the decomposing so that something else can come from it. That's how I see it. And it's a process.
It's a
It's
cycle.
the it's a cycle.
It's a
It's that
cycle. Life is a
death
cycle. We breathe
midwifery.
in, we live, we exhale, we die. It's a cycle.
Yes.
Right now, we're in an ugly cycle. The
Yes.
pendulum is not swinging our way right now.
Yes. Yes.
And if we just hunker down, come to a solidity about who we are and what's meaningful and the work that we want to get done in the world. I am watching my life's works circle the drain.
Mm.
Religious freedom,
Yes.
interfaith, earth-based spiritualities, feminism.
Yes.
I'm watching body autonomy.
Yes.
civil rights, all
Same-sex
these
marriage.
different
I'm
things.
watching all of the things that I fought for. And that was what I meant when I said, this marriage thing that I'm doing right now is an act of resistance. We're getting as many people married now before the federal regulations are repealed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
I had a few
before
friends that just
citizenship.
got married. The same thing.
Yeah.
They all saying, "I'm getting married now before I can't do it anymore."
That's
Yeah.
right.
Different things, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
I'm
Yeah.
taking them in
Have
from
to.
3 different states because
Wow.
Illinois, Michigan, and Wisconsin did not they did not approve same-sex marriage prior to overfall, prior to the,
Really?
and so, but Illinois did.
Interesting.
So I've got people coming from Wisconsin and Michigan and other places to Illinois thinking, well, if I get married here, at least my marriage will be recognized here in this state.
Yes.
Um,
It's
It's
yeah.
so
oh boy.
it's so
Anyways,
disturbing. But
yeah,
the
we're
work
gonna run out of
continues.
time, hun. We're gonna
Let
run out of
yes, let's ask about what projects you have coming up or what things you're thinking about. I mean, you are steadily busy with the other things, but any projects, any other things coming up this year?
I'm still teaching the death midwifery, and the website that's scrolling has a
Very
tab
good.
on it that that tells you where my classes are. I teach all over the country. Again, it's an act of resistance to reclaim our final rite of passage that has been taken from us by the medical field and the funeral industry. And, we have been caring for our dying and our dead for far longer than we have not been. And so now that it's been over medicalized and over commercialized, I don't know about you, but I don't have $8,500 for a funeral. And
Right.
what we learned during COVID was when you got 3-4 family members in a
Yes.
household dying, I don't have that kind of money laying around. You
Yeah,
don't need that kind of money.
No one does. At least the rest of us don't.
Right.
Right.
So the idea is to give people tools to work with, practical tools for their final rite of passage, and to return things to a place where people actually have power over how their death and their body
Sounded.
disposition
Absolutely.
happens.
That's wonderful.
So that's the big project. that
Yeah,
I'm on
it
right
is.
now.
Fabulous.
It's a lot more. In a way, it's really big, in a way, and can be overwhelming because it does take its toll on you because it can be emotional, but it's worth it and very rewarding. So I'm very proud that you're doing work there like that too.
Mhm.
Okay. So what events do you have? Any events that you're doing this other than you mentioned that you doing the projects with the death midwifery, you're teaching it as well. Is there any events you have coming up that people can meet you wherever they or it's on your website?
It's right now I don't have anything that's public
Okay.
happening. We're thinking about putting some things together for Lunasad. I do things with the University of Chicago, but they're for the university.
Right.
So,
Okay.
there'll be some students getting together to do some things for Beltane and
Awesome. Yeah.
summer
Fabulous.
solstice, that sort of thing. But
That's fabulous, though.
Yeah.
Awesome. I cannot thank you enough. It has been wonderful learning about you, your work, and the resistance continues. Let us continue to do this
Absolutely.
work. It is fabulous. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us
Absolutely.
tonight. It was
thanks
really a
for
Thank you
having
joy.
me.
so
It's
much
been
for
fun.
everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you
for
so
sharing
much.
all your knowledge and information with all of us. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, thanks for the invite, and be well, both of you.
You too.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too. You too. And now a word about the other shows here at Magickal Witchy World TV.
All right, everyone. All right.
Wow.
Okay. So tonight we're gonna have one of our old sessions of where we go through astrology via the tarot and kind of give you guys some information. And we're gonna begin with the first 6 signs, and then next week we'll do the rest. All right.
Yes.
So your April 2025 tarot card reading for each zodiac sign. There are some important cosmic journeys coming to a close during April 2025. And this month's tarot readings can help guide you as you charge ahead on this clearer path. So tonight we are going to do the first 6 signs, as I mentioned. All right.
Mhm.
And those are pulled from for you, each of your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. All right.
Yes.
So Aries.
I'll hold the card up because I got the big cards. I'll just hold it up for you, Star, because I have the big card.
Oh, you got a big one? I'm
I got
holding
the
up
big
this one
one.
too. Okay, so the
You don't have to hold it
Fool,
up.
the Fool, Aries, this is what you've got for you for this month. And in a way that's appropriate, April Fools that on first, right? But anyways, Aries 4 is the very first sign of the zodiac, and the sun happens to be lighting up your sign for the first few weeks of April, which is why being guided by the Fool card this month feels so incredibly fitting. The Fool is the premier card in the major arcana, symbolizing all the excitement, hopefulness, and beginner's luck that comes along with embarking on a brand new journey. And right now, you'll need to set your self doubt aside and trust in the universe as you dive into the opportunities that will come up for you. It's easy to get nervous when starting new things or to let past failures put a damper on your optimism. But the power of the Fool actually lies in its lack of experience versus true expertise. You don't have to know what you're doing in order to find success. So take a leap of faith and trust fall that you're going to fall your way into new adventures that will help you. All right?
Yay. Oh, love that, Aries.
Yeah.
So for Taurus, it's the moon. Being pragmatic and grounded in your approach to life is good, Taurus. But the moon card is here to remind you that things aren't always as clear cut as they appear. This lunar archetype symbolizes all the energy and information that's being hidden by the veil of your physical senses, all of which is instead accessible through your feelings and intuition alone. There's more to the situations you're facing than meets the eye. So, as you navigate the dynamics, know that you may not have a full picture of what's truly going on. Sometimes you have to read between the lines instead of taking what you see at face value. This is especially true during the first few weeks of the month when the sun is enshadowed in your 12th house of secrets and solitude. Right now, listening to inner voice and trusting your instinct is going to give you more insight than trying to prove your points with facts. Go with your gut.
All
All
right.
right, Taurus.
Okay. And Gemini, which is the Four of Wands. See that? Look how beautiful that card is. Spring is here,
Mhm.
Gemini. So it's officially time to start celebrating life with the people that you care about. The energy of the Four of Wands is akin to coming home to your family and friends after a long week to be greeted with a beautiful dinner party and lots of warm hugs. And right now, you deserve to back in that kind of interconnected magic. If you feel like your to-do list is a million miles along, so instead of racing toward your next milestone, take some time to stop and smell the roses this month.
Mhm.
Enjoy some sweet and simple moments with loved ones. And the first week of April was an especially lovely time where you can seek comfort and joy in your community, as the sun in your friendship zone will be blowing a big kiss to lucky planet Jupiter in your sign, bringing lots of opportunities to connect and
And
settle and collaborate with everyone. Okay.
fabulousness. All right, Cancer. Your card for this month, let me pull it up really quickly, is the Lovers
Love
card.
it.
Lovers, Cancer, open up your heart and your mind this month because some meaningful connections are set to swoop in and potentially transform the way you feel and think. The Lover's card is all about the synergy that exists between two people, whether that involves a literal lover or just a platonic partner of some sort. Right now, exploring the alchemical magic generated by your closest bonds can unlock new doors and offer you a new way of seeing the world, so long as you're willing to let it. The lovers can also indicate the need to start weighing out an important decision. So focus on balancing information on both sides of in a symbiotic mental dance, like two lovers respectfully negotiating a deal inside your head. Either way, it's time to break out of your own point of view and allow yourself to merge and interact with the people and ideas all around you.
All right. Okay. Leo, you are the King of Cups. So apropos, right? You're
Love.
about to get a fierce and feisty glow up, Leo, because assertive and hot-headed planet Mars will be entering your sign on April 18th. which was today, actually. Today, right? Oh
Yes,
my God,
yes, yes,
time has really got flown by.
yes.
Infusing your spirit with passion and intensity. And with the emotionally intelligent and always even keeled King of Cups on your team right now, your challenge will be to keep you cool, even when the heat and pressure is on. This Tarot Royal has achieved a masterful balance over his moods. So now is the perfect time to practice maintaining more emotional control and handling any difficult situations with maturity. Focus on fully experiencing and honoring your feelings without letting them overtake your judgment or blind you from logic. It's all too easy to lose your temper or get caught up in the heat of the moment, but you have the power to press pause and think before reacting. All
Right
right?
on.
Yes.
Now for you Virgos. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. Spring will be over before you know it. So this month is the perfect time to start squirreling away some funds for summer fun. The Four of Pentacles highlights the feeling of security, pride, and stability that comes with consciously saving your cash and being more prudent about how you use up your resources. Practicing a little bit of frugality and restraint this month can go a long way in making you feel more comfortable as you go into the season ahead. However, while sticking to a budget is certainly a wise choice, don't get caught up in tracking your finances that you find yourself spiraling into a scarcity mentality. Scarcity mindset is definitely a no
Yeah,
go.
a good one.
Hoarding your money out of sheer fear isn't going to feel good to you, as you want to maintain an abundance mindset. Work on trusting the energy flow of giving and receiving while tightening up your spending habits at the same time. Right on. So that
Yes,
was
yes,
fabulous. So
yes.
we've been
Okay.
looking at cards, but we still have to do what? Pull a
The
card.
tarot tie. All right.
Woohoo. So this,
So, Rhonda,
what
what
shall
do you
we?
want us to pull the card for tonight?
We already have assignments, so we need to, with the assignments that we have already, we're already
Hmm.
pulling cards for our sun, our moon, and our rising sign. But so now this card is literally just to look at what's the information we need to know for our highest good for this week ahead.
All
What's the
right.
information we need to know for our highest good for this week ahead?
Oh, wow. What is
Oh,
yours?
what did you get? What is, I can't
Two of
even,
two of Pentacles.
I got the magician.
Look at the balancing and
Oh my
action.
gosh. Look at this. Well, I got the magician. So the thing I need
Okay,
to
all
know,
right.
the thing I need to know about this week ahead, and this is an interesting card because I've had this card show up in several of my readings lately. It is a reminder. It is actually my shadow card for 2025, the magician. So it's the reminder to myself that I am the magician. I have the tools necessary to create whatever it is I'm looking to manifest in this plane. And I need to remember that and actually action that. Action that. So, yes, it's just a reminder. What I'm looking to manifest, what I'm looking to create, hey, I have the tools, I can manifest it.
All right. And this Two of Pentacles, I find so interesting. I
Tell us
find it's
more.
interesting because you mentioned something about hoarding, people hoarding and being afraid of the things that's coming, and which is
Hmm.
apropos around now.
Hmm.
Um, but also, to me, there's that nice balancing act of knowing that certain things are going to come into play and being
Yes.
still assured that something's going to, um, I don't know how to explain it, that something's going to come to fruition no matter what. The water is at his back, but at
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
same time, to me, that water is not overwhelming. It's in a way almost like a wall of protection. And people
Mm.
don't see water as protection, but I do. So to me, that's interesting. And I found that um, if you look at it in the back there, see the
Mm.
big wall of that
Yes.
water, but yet it's not overwhelming. It's not above. It's just right there.
Mhm, mhm,
And at
mhm.
the same time, it almost looks like he's at the cliff or something right there, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, he does not look worried. He's got that balancing act going on with the finances. So I think it's, and then if you look at the eternity sign that's there, that's
Yes.
always, in other words, it's going to always work out. Somehow it's going to find its way to work out. It's all good.
Love. Love, 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 love.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. All right. So we want to thank our guest, Angie Buchanan, for being with us here tonight.
Yes. Wow.
And we would like to, and I believe, who do we have next week? I forgot to put who we have next week. Oh, goodness.
Oh, it'll be a
Hold on.
surprise. It's
It'll be a
fine.
surprise for
We
next
have
week.
somebody next week. We definitely have somebody coming in.
We
So,
want to thank everyone in the chat and anyone that's in the future that's going to be coming to see the video. We want to thank you
yes.
all very much for being with us. And we would like to
L-
please go ahead, Rhonda.
like, subscribe, and share. And please leave a comment for us in our
Yes,
YouTube
yes,
channel.
yes.
Leave a
We would
comment
really
for us.
appreciate that.
We really appreciate that. It really does help us understand what it is you'd like us to see, who you'd like us to invite in. So please do. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining us again this week.
Have a
And
wonderful night. See you
we'll
next
see you
week.
next week.
Take care.